All right, are you ready? Go. Will you check out this little guy? Thanks to the new Actions and Stuff pack, even the Axolotls are getting animated. But today, I'm diving into something even more wild. We're going to be completely transforming the area around the megalith into a completely custom forest. Let's dive in. Hello there, beautiful pixels. My name is Alaydriem, and welcome back to Truly Bedrock Season 6, where today, we're going to be working on our megalith area and also exploring all the fun that is going to be inside of the Actions and Stuff resource pack. I mean, have you seen all of this? Have you ever seen anything this bouncy before? I know I haven't, but I am excited to check it out, especially after not being able to make an episode for quite a while, and I am so excited to be back and to be diving back into doing all this building with you. So I hope that you brought your popcorn, because we're going to have lots of fun. First and foremost, let's recap what our current situation is from our last episode. If you remember, from the last time that we were together, we did a lot of work getting this whole area terrained and also building cloud storage up in the sky. But while that has taken care of the snow area, and I'll still need to manually clear that little bit of snow out over there, there is still a ton of work to be done over here in order to really make this a truly wonderful, magical, and exciting area to be in. I am looking to create a mystical forest over here, something that when you walk through it, you are just in awe, but also enjoy being in. I want you to be feeling like there is something mysterious up ahead, but still feel like it is a very safe and comforting place to be. And to do that, there's two things that we need to add to this area. Number one, trees. Because, well, right now it's just a bunch of hilly terrain. But the second thing is some even more custom terrain that is really going to help this area pop just a little bit more. And I have a few ideas that I think are really going to make a big difference. So let's get started with that. And we're going to start all the way down here at the entrance, because as the first thing that you see, I really want this to leave a big impact on you on what to expect. So right now, we have these kind of rolling hills that just kind of roll down to the side. And while that's fine for, say, I don't know, a plains, it isn't so fine for the taiga forest that we reside in. So what I'm going to try to do is take these areas that are kind of just straight sheer cliffs and also areas that are kind of a little bit more rolling and try to make them so that there is some exposed stone and rock inside of it. I don't know about you, but when I think of a Minecraft taiga, I think of stone, mossy cobble, and a couple other things. So let's flip over and show you what I mean. And straight away, as you can see, there are plenty of elevation changes now here in this. I have started to sculpt this ridgeline right here just when you're starting to enter the approach to really accentuate this forest and really add some depth that wasn't there before. But before I get more into that, I do want to talk about this Actions and Stuff pack, because I've been playing with it for maybe about a week and a half now, total playtime, and there's a lot of new stuff in the 1.3 update that really adds to the stuff part of things. So like, for instance, this seed, when you pick up seeds nowadays, you actually get like a bag of seeds, which to me makes a whole lot more sense than just holding a seed. And there's a ton of new things in the 1.3 update that I'm hoping to explore a little bit later. But coming back to this, and we will get to more actions and stuff that I'll show you in a little bit, we do have a new beacon up there that is going to help us build everything that we need to do. And over here, I've tried to bring some of that native taiga feel back to this area. So we're using a lot of mossy cobble, stone, cobble, also a little bit of the tough blocks, and just the regular stone back in there, just to really push this back a little bit and give us a lot more depth and shadows. And I don't know if this is new in Minecraft or I've just not been seeing it, but I really feel that what we've added here is really accentuating some shadows that the Minecraft render engine really hasn't been doing in Bedrock for a while. It just feels different to me for some reason, and I'm not entirely sure why, but we've done the same thing over here. This one is a little bit more lighter. One of the things I've been trying to do with this area is not just build prettily, but also build in such a way that we can try to take advantage of the lighting that the Minecraft engine has been adding Moving up here, we have, pretty much your standard bare bones path. We do have some like mossy cobble patched in between here, mossy cobble up on the sides, and the same thing over here. Rather than just having a rolling hill that comes down and kind of just meets with the terrain smoothly, we have this basically just this wall here that really is also accentuating the shadow effect here. And again, this is one of those areas right here that maybe I've just not been paying attention, but it really, that does not look like stone from a distance. That looks like maybe black stone or maybe even tough, and that top thing looks maybe like black stone, but you come up to it and it's mossy cobble. Whatever Minecraft's render engine is doing is, there's some new stuff in here that is happening that I have not seen before, and I'm really excited that it's popping in and we're able to take advantage of it. I've also come in here and, again, brought down this wall just a little bit just so that we have more space down here. This really opens up the entire area and makes it feel a little bit bigger, and it also makes it feel like there is some natural erosion that is coming right here. And then, of course, the approach up here is pretty standard, but this puts us in a fantastic position for us to start building our trees, and hopefully you can start to feel what this terrain is going to start looking like once we have this forest in place. But before we get into building the forest, I want to go explore some more stuff with the pack, and I know just the place to go. And the thing we're going to be looking for today is a lush cave biome, which is going to be the only place on the server that we're going to be able to find ourselves an axolotl. And yeah, I know, I still haven't done anything with this ridiculous sheep yet. But coming over here to our villagers, I think that the villagers that we have here are even more animated than what our previous pack was. Again, they're very, very bouncy, but I think for maybe the villagers, it works. But there's something with the axolotls that I really, really, really want to try to capture and show off. And I know I showed it in the intro, but I want to kind of show our progress and how we got there. So coming over here, I do believe that there is a lush cave biome, like directly beneath our bone meal farm. So I think if we just come down here, like here-ish, should be a spot. Exactly one block. Yes, see, I remember doing this. I remember that there was a deep, dark hole of darkness down here. I am going to go ahead and pop on some night vision so that everyone here is able to see hopefully a little bit better. But like, look at this. The drinking animation of the potions even is super duper animated, and I absolutely love this. I think that that's one of the more fantastic things that we have here with this pack. It's just so cute and adorable. I will be littering though, don't worry. It will respond. The particles around us while we drink potions are also very, very nice. But let's go ahead and head down here and see if we can find that lush cave biome. I do need to remember that I am actually in the dark. And I do kind of want to block off some of this running water that we have in here, because that will probably be causing a lot of problems. Now, one thing I don't like about this pack is the animations around the tools. So first and foremost, I don't have a way to remove the enchantment glint that's, say, on the pickaxe, which actually really bothers me. I don't need that much glint. But I also feel like there is some inconsistency with the sound design that goes inside of the pack's animations. The animations look very, very nice, but they don't align with the speed that the pack is actually operating at, which makes things feel a little bit weird. But speaking of weird, what is down? Have I been down here before? Why is this area all lit up? Has someone gone into my base and done something? I don't remember coming down here. Have we been down here before? If we've been down here before, can you let me know down in the comments? Because I have zero recollection of this place, much less lighting this area up. I mean, surely I would remember all of this broken water, right? Why is all this water broken? Everything is just so weird over here. All right, we're looking for, it looks like there is a lush cave biome over here, but there's like some mobs over here too. That's a lot of mobs over here. Hold on. Okay, so there's a skeleton. Skeletons, I think they've actually fixed the issue with skeletons where their head spins around. I think the head spinning is a little bit ridiculous. And I'm glad that it seems that they fixed that. These feel a lot more natural as mob than opposed to previously, where every time they do something, their heads would spin. I didn't like that part of the actions and stuff, but it looks to be better now. The other thing I really like is the bow animations. I feel the bow animations are very, very fluid. Although I don't like the ka-ding sound that it's constantly putting out. I actually find that a little bit annoying. But you can see here, the mobs for the drowned, everything has been updated and everything is just a little bit more smoother. Though I do have to question, why are there so many mobs down here? There's way more mobs than should be down in this area, I feel. And they're all drowned, which means either they come from an ocean or they've been stuck. We have a bunch of zombies that have been stuck underwater. Hold on. Get rid of the baby. Oh, goodness. We're just going to have to deal with this for just a second here. What has happened down here? That's a lot that are down there. Oh, gosh, we're in so much trouble right now. Hold on. Let's clear out some of these guys. If I were to have to take a guess, my guess would be that every time I'm AFKing at my bone meal farm, we are having mob spawn underneath here, and they're picking up, I guess, something? Because that's a lot of mobs with, like, helmets and whatnot, right? There's a lot of mobs that have definitely picked up armor, and they are becoming persistent, and I'm guessing the zombies... What I guess what is happening is the zombies spawning with armor. This area was somehow flooded because I had holes in the ocean leading down here. They'd fall down in here, get converted into drowns, then they drop their stuff, then a new zombie would come and pick everything up, and then they would be persistent, and then it would just be on and on and off and on and off again. Goodness, that's a lot of mobs. And look how quickly they spawn up here. Oh my goodness. We're going to need to get some light blocks. I think I'm going to get some of that... whatever my light block of source is, my glowstone blocks. That'll probably be the easiest thing to get our hands on, because we're gonna need to fix all this. We accidentally having a mob farm underneath our base is actually a major problem and a big contributor of lag sometimes on servers. So I think what we're gonna go do is fly up here, get some light blocks, and then actually light this place up so that we do not have a persistent mob farm that we've accidentally created. Oh, we're also going to have to get rid of all this. Okay, so let me go get those blocks, and then we'll get to work lighting this area up. All right, as you can see over here, there is a ton of mobs that spawn down here. I have started to light this whole area up, but it seems like every time I go to light another place up, a bunch of mobs spawn in a completely different area of the map. So this is just going to be a tiny little project in of itself. I'm hoping that there will just be enough here. I am aware that there's a creeper right over there. I am trying to avoid it. Please don't blow me up. Okay, good. You didn't get it right here. But man, has mob spawning changed in Bedrock? I know that we have cluster spawning, but this feels like there's a lot of mob spawning, and I don't remember this many mobs. Maybe they're just more animated with the pack. Oh, that was a jockey. Oh, bad jockey. Bad skeleton. It feels like there's a lot more mobs that are spawning in the world right now, and I don't know, I feel like maybe I'm just unused to it. If I'm like completely misremembering how this game actually works, just let me know down in the comments, because wow, I haven't seen this many mobs since I played on Java Edition. But anyway, we now have plenty of blocks down here. I am going to come down here. I want to light up this area around here just so that nothing can spawn. And then we're going to go down to that hole over there in the ground where they had all congregated previously. And hopefully with all these light blocks, we will have completely eliminated any of the spawn spots over here, because this is just a crazy amount of mobs that is constantly spawning in. Now then, with this area lit up, it's time for us to get back on our hunt for the axolotl. But I have discovered that there is a diamond up here, and I am curious to see what the diamonds look like in this pack, because, you know, diamonds are forever, and, you know, who doesn't want to see what diamonds look like? So let me grab my handy-dandy pickaxe here. I think I actually want my fortune one instead of my silk touch. We'll just use one of them. Yeah, we'll keep we'll just keep that in there. I'll make sure I grab this because I have a bad habit of leaving all this. And then right up there, there's a diamond. So hopefully we can just mine up there really, really easily. Let me get some blocks right here. We'll go ahead and just stack up real quick, and then we will go ahead and mine this out and take a look-see. Yeah, fortune one. All right, they look the same when they drop. What happens if we have them in our hands? Ooh, now that's very interesting, because I don't think that that's what a diamond looks like, but I guess they're trying to go for more of a triangular shape. That's very, very interesting. I'm not sure if I super duper like it, but it is interesting to look at. it is interesting to look at. The regular texture is the same. I will say that while the totem on my left hand is blinking, I do think that it's maybe a little bit too big. So if you are going to use this pack, maybe figure out how to replace the totem texture with something a little bit smaller, just because I can definitely see that being a little bit of annoying. It is taking up a lot more of my screen than I am used to. Although I do appreciate that it goes away when you use something like your bow. Okay, we are getting so distracted by everything in this pack. We really need to go find some of these lush cave little ponds and see if we can find ourselves an axolotl down here. And a long story short, I've been here for probably about an hour now. We spent an entire stream hunting for this guy, did not find him, and then finally, after just waiting here, I finally got one to spawn in this cave. And it looks like we actually had a couple spawn here, so let's see if we can pick him up. Come on, there you go, buddy. Oh, he's so cute. He is so cute. He is so adorable. We need to grab at least one more of them. Do I have another bucket on me? Yes, I do. Let's grab at least 2 of them, so that way if we want to like make some more baby axolotls, we can. There we go. You're adorable. There we go. Baby bucket of axolotls. All right. I don't think I have another one for you, so maybe you just stay down here. Okay, but now I want to go see the one thing I wanted to see with this ridiculous pack, and that is what happens if you're just flying with an axolotl. Now, I had seen earlier that if you have a chest and you go down with the chest, it kind of opens its lid, which I thought was very, very cute, but the thing I really wanted to check, and I want to make sure that I have like a totem available, is what happens if you do it with an axolotl. Aw, isn't it so cute? That's just adorable. That's just downright adorable. It has no business being that cute. It has no business being that cute. All right. Okay, now I've had my fun now. I've had my fun. There's a lot of cool new things inside of this pack that I'm excited to keep exploring, but that was the thing I really, really wanted to do. Okay, with that said, I think it's time for us to get back to work, working on some of our base area over here. And just ignore like the in progress pick. I'm going to explain everything here in just a sec. We just need to put our axolotl away. All right, so let's talk about what I actually want to do over in this area that we're building. I have built a lot of trees here on Truly Bedrock. I've built these palm trees over for Rogue Fox. I've got a couple of different spruces over here. I've got about maybe 3 or 4 different variants. Of course, my favorite gray spruce. And of course, our big tree in the background here and the mini tree that has inspired it. And I have built many trees since then and before then. And when I first started on this world, I thought to myself, you know, I'm just going to download a whole bunch of trees so I never need to worry about what I'm going to plant. And, you know, I did. That was my intention. And I have not used a single one of these trees this entire season. And let me just explain why a little bit. These are good trees. These are good trees from a world download, but to me, they really lack character. And what do I mean by that? Yes, this tree is a little bit slanted. Yes, this tree looks nice. Some of these look really, really nice, but when you look at them, they don't look like trees. They look kind of very, very flat, like the colors pushed right into them. And while they have a good shape, none of them really have that high bark that goes up, and then you have kind of the pine tree at the top, and none of them really have the color I'm looking for. Like this is your typical spruce leaves, and you know, it looks fine, but it doesn't have a lot of color with it. And when you think of like what spruce trees really look like, is they do have quite a bit of color variation. Now this tree right here, you know, it's incorporating wool box and a couple of others. There's a couple in here that, you know, they look nice and they have some air gapping, but none of these trees right here really felt like the type of tree that I wanted to add into our area. So I decided I'm going to go ahead and make a couple of new custom ones. So what I did is I came over here and I just started tinkering just a little bit and came up with these 6 trees right here. Now, my goal with these trees is to have something that both looks good in the area that we're in, has plenty of space in between them so that you can see the contrasting colors, and has different colors in them rather than just being completely, you know, the single dark color spruce. I just didn't want that color shading to it. The other thing is that these trees needed to be tall enough that it looked imposing and that you had a good height above you before you started seeing the green, but also not too tall that didn't completely drown out the megalith itself. So I think like this tree, we're at like Y level 11 to Y level 46, we're like 35 blocks tall, and the megalith itself, like the base of it only goes up maybe like 30 blocks. So they had to be both tall enough to be imposing and also small enough to not be so imposing. And I also wanted to incorporate some real life stuff that you see in trees. Mainly right here is this scorched bark. Like if you think of trees, this type of tree most likely exists in an area where you'll have a low brush fire that comes through every now and then as part of its natural life cycle in the area. That would allow other trees to come in. That would allow these to roughen and toughen up. And I wanted to kind of incorporate all of that, along with incorporating kind of the spring feel. And when you think about trees in spring, especially spruce trees, they'll have this lighter green, more vibrant color towards the tip of their leaves that really looks a lot different than kind of the old growth, which is kind of a really more darker green. So I tried to incorporate all of this here into what I think is going to be my main big tree that I'm going to do. This is going to be the tree that I'm going to be putting throughout the area near the megalith. And I think it checks all of the boxes that I'm looking for. And it has the color, it has the variation, it has everything. Now I did make a couple of other variations. So this is one that's just slightly smaller and it has a little bit more variation to it, specifically with like some more sticks and some more fences and other things that kind of go in there. And I think that one we'll probably use that one too. I have 4 other trees though that I'm probably going to put in, and I wanted to make these look like these were maybe younger trees. They hadn't fulled out quite as much, and trees that just gave a little bit different of a shape, especially when you think about these larger trees. These larger trees, the leaves take up a ton of space, whereas these smaller trees with this skinny wood makes it look like it shot up very, very fast and just hasn't grown and gotten bigger yet, maybe as the result of a fire. And then this over here, just kind of a smaller tree that kind of is incorporating a little bit of the thicker leaves, a little bit of some branches, and then also some of the tough walls that we have down here, which you can see kind of in this tree as well, which give it a little bit thicker of a shape around the trunk, but still retain kind of that, oh, I didn't mean to break that, but still retain the same sort of style. So it's just different ways of giving your trees more depth, more style, more interest, something that's always going to keep your viewer visually interested in the things that we're doing. Now over here, if we take all the leaves away, this is what the trunk actually looks like. As you can see, there's a lot of variation. We're only going out with the branches just a little bit. We're always trying to swoop down because when you think of spruce trees, those spruce trees, the leaves are kind of pyramidal in shape. Is pyramidal a word? They are pyramid in shape. Here's the skinny tree. As you can see here, we have kind of that same thing where we're trying to force the leaves to go from top to bottom, kind of in a triangle shape, so we retain some of that spruce tree feel. As you can see here, there's some of the sticks that stick out just a little bit, some of the branches. That's really just to give it that extra little bit of character. And at the end of the day, you're either going to be looking at this from very, very far away, or you're going to be looking at it from underneath, in which case you'll be able to see all that detail. And then over here, you can see this tree is going to be, this is the 5-minute tree. It's not going to take long to do any of this, but I think that we have a good set of trees here. Another thing that I was sort of tinkering around with, which I'm not sure if I'm going to pull in, is the idea of like having a fallen tree. So we have a tree here that looks like, it was chopped down. And one of the things I learned that you could do is if you wait until night in your world, you can actually place down mushrooms now on top of these logs, which I didn't know is something that you could do. I didn't know that you could actually do that, and I'm very, very excited. So we might incorporate that as well, just to look like things are overgrowing. But I think it's time for us to get building, so why don't you sit back, relax, and enjoy the music of the time lapse. And after a very, very, very long time building, and I think this actually has taken me longer to build this forest than it has the megalith itself, we are finally done with the forest. And I just want to let the world load in and render in from a distance here, just so you can see and appreciate it. I think that this is one of the best things that I've built here on the server. The contrast with this, the megalith behind it, the tree underneath it, I really think is a level up from the building that I've done even this season. I have really tried to push myself much farther than I have ever before, both on time and on detail and on texture and presentation. I've really tried to make this season about building detailed things that make you feel that you are a part of this world and that there is a level of magic that surrounds you when you come in here. And I'm not like just saying this because I made this. I really think that this is a really, really good build, and I am very, very happy with it. And I would love to know what you think of the trees, of the area, especially the firefly bushes. Just let me know what you think of this as a holistic painting. We are going to get rid of the sheep though, because the sheep are they're a little bit annoying. So let's talk about this real quick. Obviously, I've incorporated the majority of the trees that we've talked about. We obviously have the smaller trees up front. We have added in a whole bunch of firefly bushes so that you can hear the crickets as you kind of walk through this, which I really think we've hit the right balance between enough light, not too much light, and then also the ambient sound level that these give off. And then the level of trees, there is just so many trees in here. We have the skinny trees, we have the big trees. They're all obscuring and hiding the megaliths in some new way. So as you're walking around, you get a new vantage point that you haven't quite seen before. And I think it just, everywhere you go, there's a new picture to be painted in here. And I'm very, very happy with this. There's a lot of other little mini details that I've added in here, like these little bit of flowers. I've bone mealed quite a bit here to get this grass here up tall on the side to make it look like this is a place where there's a bunch of things growing on the ground as well, but also not so super duper high. I've tried to keep the flowers out to a minimum because I really want this to be, an area that just kind of has like these bushes inside of it. But the grass is high to kind of give it that feeling. Like at some point there'll probably be a brush fire that runs through here, burns the trees again, and then we'll kind of start this whole life cycle that we've talked about. I think probably the only thing that I'd want to change in here, which I just don't know how to do at this scale, is make it so that the large tree behind it is more visible. Obviously, there is a good contrast at night, especially between the larger tree behind it, but you really can't tell it's there. But, that's okay. There's going to be plenty of people who are probably flying in. You can get to appreciate it from there. You can appreciate it from looking down below, and then if you're flying in from any other angle, obviously that will be visible as well. I am trying to find my bed so that we can see what it looks like during the day. If we hop down here, I think I got a bed in here. Yeah, don't look underneath all the terraining. There's all sorts of things in here. But if we fly away and take a look at what this looks like during the day, you can see there is just detail everywhere in here. And I think it looks very, very good. Now, I think if I had infinite time, and maybe I'll even do this after the season, I might take this into World Edit or Amulet here on PC and just manually copy and paste these trees out a little bit more rather than building them each by hand. I think that could be a fun little project to help really bring out the vision I have for this. There's no way that I can build another 200 trees of this. It will take quite literally forever. So we're going to stick with this just little diorama right for now. And then in the next episodes, we can probably start working on, where we're going to place our portal, what the ruins around this start to look like. So at least you have a feel of what the world that this lives in looks like and feels like in here. Now, there's a couple good viewing angles for this, and I think this is probably one of them. If we drop our FOV down to about 30, you can really kind of see everything in there. I think FOV of 30 really kind of pushes the depth a little bit. It does blur together and make the foreground look a little bit flat, which is a little bit unfortunate because when you're on Java, the shadowing really helps pop that contrast. But looking at this area from over here, I think this is one of my favorite viewing angles, all this. Now, again, if I had like an amulet or world editor and I could just paste trees all day, I'd probably extend trees out to both the left and the right here, just so that we had all that there. But I think, you know, this has encapsulated everything that I want, where we have the good blue sky that will occasionally peek through the trees. We have a good forest cover. We have good ground foliage kind of all over the place. I think everything over here has really been tied together in a very nice and clean way. And again, let me know what you think about this down in the comments. I would love to know your thoughts. Now, we still have some additional work to do, mainly the ruins in the village out here, and I want to build like a little, I don't know, like a portal or a gate or something that lets you know that this is the entryway to this forest, kind of just right here at the start of the stairs. I'm not sure what that's going to be looking like, so if you have ideas for that, I of course would love to know. I'm thinking like an under arch, but you know, I'm still kind of brainstorming ideas for that. But the forest is done, and it is finally time to start working on other things. But it is the end of this episode, which means our time together today has come to a close. As always, beautiful pixels, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you've enjoyed actions and stuff. I hope that you have enjoyed building of this forest. And as always, I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Goodbye.